free, stand for fantasy. Football franchise, talking about that guy. Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always find the sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. My name is Nick Sigmund. With me, as always, is Tyler Gee.
Oh, is your name Nick Sigmund? Because I'm pretty sure it's amateur hour.
1 second, I'll get into it. And Jonathan Robertson.
Deja vu.
So this is take two. For the first time in over a year, I forgot to press the record button.
He forgot to push the button.
We were only a few minutes in.
Man.
We just got to the first bit of news, and I was like, you know what? There's
And I
nothing
was
recording on that there's screen.
I was just building up to it, too. That's okay. It's a little foreplay. You know, we're here now.
We got a little tickle. I know what sinks your submarine now.
Oh, yellow submarine.
The fantasy news.
So, again, you all don't know, but I do.
We're talking about it again.
Oh, did that get deleted?
It did get deleted.
Adam Shaheen.
Adam Shaheen and
Samaje
Samaje
Perine.
Perine. Yep.
They have
Ankle
both-
injury.
Yep, ankle sprains.
Yeah, you know, I hate it because Samaje Perine actually looked decent. He actually hurt it when he was on a good run there. Like, he was running, and I was like, go, Samaje, go. And then he was like, what's that? Don't need an ankle. And I was like, oh, man.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
No.
What was sad was you had to watch Rob Kelly be Rob Kelly. Like, you just, like,
Could
he
you
went
be
in.
any more mediocre?
No. I mean, he's not a great running back, but he's not a bad one. He just, like we previously said, in our not recorded episode, in the Uncharted
Stop giving me the
episode,
stink eye.
in the Uncharted episode, we talked about how Rob Kelly he's a salad. Not even a fancy salad. I'm not talking about like chicken and bacon
No,
bits.
he's one of those house salad, but he's a wedge.
Yeah,
I hated those salad. They send you a wedge. I don't want a wedge of salad.
They just
If
cut
I get
like
a salad,
like
I want you
piece
to cut it for me.
Of lettuce, a head lettuce into fours, and then just drizzle ranch on it and
Yeah.
like feed yourself.
That's
And
not
you're
my
like-
job. That's your job.
And you're like, wow, this is pretty lazy, but I'm still going to eat it. That's Rob Kelly. Like, I have him
fair.
on a dynasty roster because of accidents. Like, honestly, I was flipping through a roster, and I go, oh, hey, Fat Rob's there. Which, by the way, he did not look that fat. He looked like he's slimming down, and I had high expectations. Like, maybe Fat Rob has lost some weight, and he's about to do it.
Don't say that.
And then he ran the ball a few times, and I was like, never mind.
Well, now he gets all of the quarterback coach's attention, and he'll be Adrian Peterson's protege.
Yeah, so that's the second part of the news. Nick, tell him about that. Let's talk
Adrian
about
Peterson is signed to the Washington Redskins. I don't know if it's official, but it's official. Like, no contract may have been signed.
that. I mean,
but
Adam
it's
Schefter
been-
tweeted it out, so it's
Yeah.
official.
It's basically happening.
So, question. You're in the, 28th round of your redraft league, and you decide, you know what, I want to go ahead and get one of these Redskin running backs. Are you going for this salad wedge of Rob Kelly? Are you going for, Adrian Peterson used to be a fine, beautiful steak, but now in his age,
it's perfect. Medium rare, seared on the edges.
It's a little weathered, and it's a little.
He did not
old.
dry age well.
No, and so do you want the old chewy steak of Adrian Peterson, or do you want the salad wedge, which is Rob Kelly?
Jonathan?
You haven't talked in a while.
Probably Rob Kelly.
I'm more of a vegetarian in this aspect as well. I will go with some Rob Kelly.
I will take some Adrian Peterson, just because I saw little flashes of it last year. I'm not saying it's great, but if he can, I think they signed him for a reason. I think that they saw something that they don't have in Rob Kelly. And I mean,
there's a lot they don't have in Rob Kelly.
Yeah, there's a lot to be at. And maybe it is just a depth move. It is. But I also feel like I think they had Orleans Darkwa and a few other people, and if it was just depth, I feel like they would have picked that guy. I don't know. I mean, once again, I don't know if there's a right answer here. I don't think
and
anybody's
right now,
going
Adrian Peterson's cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's going to be cheaper
He's
for the next few
undrafted
weeks.
because, I mean, he did not have a team until today. So, I mean, if you're drafting,
He did not
let's
have a
say this
team.
weekend, I'm drafting in my work league, he still may be undrafted. I mean, really. I mean, he might just because the new news.
Yeah, I have a Sunday draft. I don't even know. I hate these injuries. They keep.
So when you said Sunday draft, I was thinking about a draft where you eat ice cream sundaes.
That sounds fantastic.
I was like, oh man, how am I not part of this league?
So Trey Burton also
Why you holding out on me?
has an ankle sprain. And
No. Adam Shaheen does.
Oh my God.
Easy. Whoa.
Trey Burton is all
Burton's
good.
fine.
He's all good.
The Burtonator is okay.
It's Adam Shaheen, his co-pilot, his partner in life.
Hey, and I'll say this: it looked a lot worse. Like I was watching the game, and let me tell you, it looked like when he went down and they carted him off. I was like, "That's not good. That's not good. Don't."
It's not going to be a good day.
Looked like a bad day in the neighborhood.
So Trey Burton, I think he was already flying a little high. This just takes him up a little more because he's probably going to get a majority of the targets if any of them were going to go over there.
Come on, man. You know we got to say something about the
Probably
Sharks.
gonna get the majority of the Chargets.
Well, Shark Week was a couple weeks ago.
You're Shark Week. What does that even mean? Okay, all right. Let's talk about another little bit of news. What was it? Rex Burkhead. Nick, talk about Rex Burkhead just a little bit.
Well, he had the most fantasy points per game for the Patriots last year as a running back, and he was out for a little bit with some injuries last year, and now he's out for a little bit this year.
With the mysterious.
Yeah, and with Sony Michel also being out for a little while, Rex Burkhead took a huge bump up in fantasy drafts. He almost went up 2 rounds over the course of 2 weeks, and if he can come into the season and actually start and be healthy,
But
he's the guy.
He supposedly has Jonathan can help me out with this because he's a nurse practitioner person thing. He has a knee tear. Jonathan, alleviate what a knee tear is.
Alleviate it?
Yeah.
I don't know how he can alleviate it from here.
They're just doing it unspecified. They don't know yet. They didn't know when they wrote it.
I mean, there's lots of ligaments and stuff in your knee, correct? To just say
There
one
is.
of them is
What's
torn
what's a
is
ligament?
you're a ligament, is a pretty broad statement. I mean, you might as well just say, his leg not do good. Oh, okay, thank you. His leg not do well. Got it.
That's fair.
So what's sad is, we were talking about depth with Adrian Peterson, going to the Redskins, to add depth. So here's the Patriots still. Brandon Bolton, James White, Jeremy Hill, Mike Gillisley.
Oh, I know. It's still a
and
mosh pit.
that's even with Sony Michel, probably
Supposedly coming back.
Yeah, he's going to come back. So there's your 5th running back. They don't need any more running backs.
They're good. They're good. Yeah, and I personally will never draft a Patriots running back, ever, because I don't feel like I can ever predict who is going to score the points. And it's one of those things. Like, on week, off week, on week, off week.
I'll be honest with you. Looking at the preseason games, Jeremy Hill looked good, and as a good
Don't
in between.
you say that?
I mean, he looked like a good in between the tackles runner. And I mean, if Rex Burkhead is this pass catching role, I can see the season opener. If Sony Michel's not ready, Rex Burkhead really isn't hurt that much. James White looked fantastic. I could see very well it's like Jeremy Hill for in between the tackles runner and James White as the pass catcher. And you're sitting there going, what do I do?
What if they went to 3 running back sets?
7 running backs. It's the Patriots. I mean, it's just I've never seen anything like it, and I feel like I'm playing with fire.
So not a big one. Josh Gordon's back at camp.
A lot of that too has to do with the NFL clearing him, which is weird to think about. But apparently, it's not him. It's like a process. I don't.
Well, didn't he have to show up to camp?
Yeah, so he had to show up at the camp, but since he showed up to camp later because he was trying to get his sobriety in line, then that the NFL had to reset. I don't know. I think he'll be okay as long as there's no slip ups or anything like that. I mean, hey, listen, I understand that's frustrating as a fantasy football owner, but these are real people. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I want this guy to get on the straight and narrow. And as somebody who plays Dynasty and stuff like that, like, if you do play those type of leagues, you want him to be good, not just for this year. And, I mean, as a decent human being, you want him to figure this out. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just monitor it. I mean, I will say I take a step back in sometimes when I push, like, draft Josh Gordon in my mocks because there's so many people I like around him anyway that I'm just kind of like,
he's
I want
so
the thumbs up.
hard. Like,
I
to
want the
buy
thumbs
him at
up.
the price he has, it's so hard to do at this point. He has a lot of risk. I mean, what if he needs to take a week or two off during the season because he just can't handle it? Like, he wants to.
And I want him to.
Take
As
drugs.
a human being, I want him to. But
Yeah.
as a fantasy analyst, that's a factor in his price. Like,
Exactly.
it has to be.
You know, there was a, this is a while back. There was a guy who played for the Miami Dolphins that this happened to. He goes by the name of Ricky Williams.
Yep.
He suffered a lot with addiction, and his was marijuana as well. He had a lot of emotional issues, but he was actually said he could have been one of the best running backs to ever play football. Still arguably is one of the most talented. He up and quit football one day. And, I mean, it's definitely more personal than it is fantasy football. I fade Josh Gordon, and I hope he kind of gets everything situated, but, yeah, I think he's way too much of an unsettled foundation for me.
Yeah, it'd be one thing, if he was a flyer, this was a guy that I was just
He's
taking.
your wide receiver, too, at this point.
But, I mean, he's going, like, near Larry Fitzgerald, and I'm just like, how? Like, I just, I already wanted Larry before then, and I think maybe he's a little before then, but I'm just saying, like, there's lots of people that, hover around that area, and with me just he's battling this stuff, and I get it. I want him to. I want him to battle this. I want him to win, but Josh Gordon going next to Brandon Cooks, Allen Robinson.
Oh, there's no way. I would take Brandon Cooks over him.
Brandon
any
Cooks,
day.
Allen Robinson. I mean, it's just really hard. Deion Lewis.
Louis?
Armstrong.
Lewis. I mean, he even goes. I mean, one of the guys that Jonathan really loves, Marquise Goodwin, who's been blowing it up in the preseason. I'll tell you, he's been one of the biggest risers. He's going right now. What round do you think he's going in? Marquise Goodwin right now.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going beginning of the fifth.
Oh, I
The
thought it was the end
beginning?
of the fifth.
Well,
wow.
the middle 5'8",
Okay,
so 5'8".
okay,
But I mean, I would say by the time we start drafting, I don't think that it'll be outlandish. I mean, he is scooting up there.
If only there was someone who
Someone
told you
said
to
it
get
a
it.
couple times.
get it.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody did, John.
So Nick Foles with a shoulder sprain?
Yeah, it looked a lot worse, but they took it back.
Question.
If you look at the tackle, he's just kind of, I don't know. It's like someone's grabbed his arm, and it looked like it hurt, but I think he's okay. I think also of note, Alshon Jeffrey being on the PUP. Apparently, the coach said that was a rumor, and that's interesting. I mean, the coach also said this. So is he deflecting something that could happen? Is he, I think very rarely a coach will just come out and say, yeah, our main wide receiver's out. I mean, I could be wrong, but and then of course the Bills quarterback, I forget his name,
Josh Allen.
A.J. McCarron.
AJ McCarron.
Oh,
yeah.
that one. Okay.
He broke his shoulder, so yeah, he's done.
They have a lot of quarterbacks.
They have a lot of mediocre quarterbacks.
Josh McCown. You mean Josh Rosen? Right.
The Bills?
Yeah.
Is it? What isn't it Josh Allen or is it something else?
No, it's Josh Allen. Josh Rosen.
Allen. Yes.
Josh
Sorry.
Rosen's with
I thought you said
Cardinals.
Josh McCown.
No,
You're
no.
McCown. What's that even mean?
You're Allen.
And Dez has no deal yet.
He probably won't get a deal.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I'm
the sad
telling
part.
you right now where Dez is going. I'm calling it. Ready? I want to shoot this shot. I want to be that kid that shoots the basketball behind his back and calls it. And I could completely miss, but if I make it, it'll be epic. Dez Bryant to the Eagles. And the reason I say this, look at it. If Alshon Jeffrey is talking about going to the PUP, I'm not saying he is, but if he is, you've got also Nelson Aguilar with a lower back injury. Don't know how bad it is, just lower back injury. You have a team that basically has a vacancy wide receiver. You also have a team that is hated by the Cowboys.
And he
Dez
loves that.
Bryant Dez Bryant wants to play. I mean, there was that rumor of when Dez Bryant walked out of the Cowboys, says,
Giants.
"You will see me twice next year." That's what he said. So if there's a place, because the reason why there was no deal done with the Browns, because he wanted money, the Browns wanted to buy him cheap. Let's be honest, that's really what happened, and so that didn't correlate. But I almost can guarantee you that Dez will take a little bit of a prove it / lower deal for the Eagles just to play the Cowboys.
I can see it.
I mean, it just makes sense.
He hates them, so yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if Alshon really is on the pub. It's more rumor, but I'm just saying if he is, or if the Eagles feel like that
if
is.
If he's willing to not take a lot of money, he could go anywhere.
Or if Nelson,
he could go to the Redskins too.
Yeah, I mean, he could go to the Ravens. I mean, they offered him a deal at one point. So I mean, I don't know, but to me, it just lines up. And if Dez goes to the Eagles, it's interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I don't know if I love him, but it'll be fun.
Jonathan's soul will die.
All Dez Bryant memorabilia will be burnt.
I mean, I feel bad for him.
God.
I know.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our blunder with the number, which is brought to you by sportssabermetrics.net. Guys, awesome website. Has all kinds of the spark scores, percentage scores, height, weight, age, their previous stats. I mean, it's just ADP, looking at ADP versus Dynasty and Redraft. I mean, there's just a lot of information. So check out sportssabermetrics.net.
The blunder with the numbers.
So we have a new game this week.
It's like, whose line is it anyway?
Some of us do.
Where all the rules don't matter, the points don't matter. What is that?
Nothing matters.
What is that saying? It's like
Where the
everything's
rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah, that's basically what this is.
We're just going to say 3 things, and one of them we believe.
And these 3 things are hot takes. And listen, I know it's like the new hotness now to just make up a bunch of random hot takes. We are not one for that. We usually have the get your mittens, because we like to have stuff based on data, based on video, based on, those type of things. Hot takes are based off none of those. It's just what you kind of just in your gut. And not to say that it's wrong. I mean, if you had said Marvin Jones was a wide receiver 1, people would have called you crazy. The data did not back that up. Duke Johnson would be a running back. What? Okay, well, from last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're doing it. So Nick, tell us your 3 hot takes, and me and Jonathan will guess which one you actually believe.
It'll be the first one.
And I'll throw up random points while you're talking.
Will Fuller will have more touchdowns than DeAndre Hopkins.
Minus 5 points.
Brandon Cooks will finish as a top 8 wide receiver.
Plus 8 points.
Plus 8 points. Thank you for that. Jordy Nelson will finish as a high wide receiver 2.
Minus 1/2 point.
All right.
I'm going to guess the Jordy Nelson one because of your weird, oddly disdain for Amari Cooper.
That's the one I was going to say. It's the only one that makes sense. So you probably would just want to go with that one.
All right. So
that's the only one that makes sense.
All right. So which one was your hot take?
I said Brandon Cooks.
Really? So you think that Brandon Cooks will finish as a wide receiver?
Who's drafted above him?
Who?
Amari Cooper and Juju.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
You want to know? He had an opportunity ratio the same as DeAndre Hopkins last year, 1.78. That's actually the lowest he's ever had. The year before, he had an opportunity ratio of 2.
It's just a volume thing. I mean, does he get the volume with Gurley? Does he get the volume with Woods and Kupp there?
Yeah. This is my hot take. I don't really have to back it up with any analysis. This is like a gut feeling.
Prove yourself.
Oh, I'm going to prove it whenever Cooks finishes this year as a solid wide
he's
receiver.
He's going to finish the year.
I'll tell you, in Dynasty, I've been trying to sell as much Robert Woods as I can. He's an undrafted free agent next year. I don't think the Rams are bringing him back with Cooks.
It's Kupp and Cooks.
And I'll tell you this, I'm probably trying to buy some Cooks right now on the cheap because everybody's going to low on them. And this time next year, if you're playing Dynasty, when Robert Woods leaves, he's going to be a hot buy, and you can sell at that point, or you can ride it. I don't know.
Whatever you feel like.
Okay,
Tyler.
All right. So Jared Cook finishes as tight end number 7.
That's way too hot. Can't do it.
I need
All
points.
right, keep going.
I need points.
Negative 28.
Okay. Dion Lewis will finish as a top 6 running back.
Minus 22.
Okay.
But plus 30.
Plus.
Kelvin Benjamin finishes in the top 16 in his position, wide receiver.
Plus 0.2.
Wow. John, do I get any points? That's just an even kill. All right, so which one do you all think?
I feel like the Cooks one could be done, and that's probably the one you picked. Kelvin Benjamin, it's possible. I just think it's very unlikely. And I don't see Dion Lewis being that high.
I'm just asking.
Oh, well, he has Dion Lewis pulled up, so there you go.
My hot take is Dion Lewis finishes in the top 6 running back. Now, before you start booing and hissing,
Boo.
the reason I say this is last year he finished with his opportunity ratio. So how many fantasy points he got per target and per carry was 0.92. Yes, that is more than Le'Veon Bell. Yes, that is more than Kareem Hunt. Now, granted, he was not given the volume that those people were given. So that's, and there's a correlation there too. If you get a lot of volume, maybe you slow down on that production.
So we're.
But what I'm saying is, and once again, it's a hot take. I know it's a hot take. That's the whole point of the game.
So I'm not going to ask you to defend yourself. I'm just curious where you would comfortably take him in a draft.
I mean, where he's going right now, I just don't want to overpay for him. I maybe would grab him a round earlier. I mean, let me look here really quick where he is going. But every single time I draft him, I feel good about it. He's going right now in the 5th round, middle of the 5th, next to Kerryon Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, and Rex Burkhead. I will take him above all of those. Mark Ingram goes before him, done. Lamar Miller, debatable. Kenyon Drake, Jay Ajayi, Royce Freeman, Derrick Henry, all people that go before him in the 3rd and 4th round. I will take all but maybe Royce Freeman. I would rather Royce Freeman.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would.
Lamar Miller is a debate, not because of Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller's not a good running back, but he has more a
he's
clear
a guy.
run
Yeah.
to the thing. I don't believe in Derrick Henry. I never have, and I guess that's where this prejudice comes from. Like every single time he played for the Titans and had an opportunity, I just wasn't impressed.
It
I
was
really
funny
wasn't.
seeing a picture of them together.
And
Dion Lewis and
he'll
Derrick
get
Henry,
some
like
he'll
one
get
giant
some
one.
work and blah blah blah. But I also just think that with his pass catching ability, Dion Lewis has a lot of upside, and I know he has to be healthy, but a lot of upside. And once again, it's a hot take. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do.
I can
Yeah.
see it.
I like Dion Lewis. To me, he is a lot like a Carlos Hyde and a Nick Chubb. If you grab one, I think you should grab the brother. I think.
See, because I just don't. I feel like what's going to happen is one is going to eat the other, and then now I have a dead player. I think you should pick. I mean, really, like you should pick. You should put your flag on one.
It's
and
hard
move on.
that high, but here's the thing: is let's not.
Because I mean, to get Derrick Henry and him, you have to spend a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like I just need to plant my flag on one of them and just move on. Because at that rate, let's say Dion Lewis works out and Henry's a bust. Well, I just wasted a 3rd round pick, and then flip it. Then I wasted a 5th round pick. I mean, it just I don't
for
know.
listeners, just for the sake of the listeners. Not really. I'm not arguing the point, and you know how much I favor Dion Lewis and his talent, but. In Derrick Henry's defense, let's just keep in mind, last year was the first year that he was able to be the lead running back, number 1, without DeMarco Murray. And it was only for the majority of the season, but not the full season. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Number 2, Ken Wissenhunt, Mike Mularkey as the coach, poor, just like Jeff Fisher. Let's keep that in mind, where Jeff Fisher ran Todd Gurley and made him look like he should never be drafted.
Oh, I know, but keep in mind this new coach, just like you said. So the new coach is coming down.
Mm-hmm. Mike Vrabel.
He signed Dion Lewis.
I know.
So I mean, I'm just
because he's also a big proponent of the Patriots. It's where he starts to. But
okay, but let me read you a stat line. Okay, ready? How many more carries did Dion Lewis have than Derrick Henry? How many carries last year?
I would say that he had around the same.
Okay, you would be correct. Dion Lewis has 180 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Derrick Henry had 176, so 4 more carries. Okay. So Dion Lewis had 4 more carries. On that, he got 896 yards, almost 900 yards. Okay. And then, let's keep cruising here. Derrick Henry, 744. So he had almost 150-something more yards on 4 more carries. Now, you can sit here and say, well, Derrick Henry's this big old back. Okay, if you're proceeding the ball forward, I don't care what your size is. Not to mention, Derrick Henry had 17 targets, 11 catches. I mean, Dion Lewis, let me see here, 36 targets, 32 catches for 214 yards. I mean, to me, he just is a more serviceable. And Dion Lewis, by the way, finished as running back 15. So as much as hot as this is, Dion Lewis was in a crowded backfield last year, finished running back 15, right in front of Lamar Miller, Jerick McKinnon. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I think it's hot, but I don't think it's as hot as people wanted to make it.
I think they both could easily finish as running back 2s. With both of them being healthy all season, I see that. Another thing on top of offensive scheme, the third thing, is the fact that Jack Conklin, one of the offensive line players for Tennessee, was out majority of the season, and that left Taylor Lewan. It was a thrashed offensive line, caused Derrick Henry to always have to run to the left. Poor play calling. I'm just saying, I think if Derrick Henry does poor again for another year, yeah, we can give up on him.
I'm talking about redraft, though. Like this, and that's what I'm saying is I don't want to own both. Anyways, let's move on. We've spent too long.
Yeah, John, what's your little thing?
Or do we want to just go into our...
I didn't make one, but I do have a stat game.
Okay.
All right. You and your computers.
Jonathan just pulled out his old man glasses and a piece of paper.
Okay, so here are 2 players. I'm not even going to tell you their positions, even though you're going to figure it out as soon as I give you the stats. You didn't think about that. All right.
Okay.
So, player number 1, drafted at the 5 spot. Not the 5 spot, 5th round. 5th round first pick.
Well, fifth person, Antonio Brown.
Over his career, both of these players have had 4-year careers. This player, 202 catches, 2,848 yards.
In 4 years?
In 4 years. Player number 2, he's drafted at the 10th round, 6th spot. He has had 189 catches. So player number 1 has had 13 more.
Yeah, 13, 14.
Player number 2 has 2,669 yards. So player number 1 on 13 more catches has about 100 and
something odd yards.
100 like 80 something odd yards. Yeah. They both average 14.1 yards per reception. Player number 1, 22 touchdowns. Player number 2, 21 touchdowns.
Is player 2 Kenny Stills?
No.
I was like, if I have to hear you make love to Kenny Stills one more time.
That's Nick, not me. But
I forgot. I got us
in
confused.
4 years, player number 1 has played 41 games. In 4 years, player number 2 has played 42 games. Player number 2 has a catch rate of 57.3%. Player number 1 has a catch rate of 50.3%.
Is this Alan Hearns?
I don't know.
It is, isn't it?
Points. Player number 1,
Gosh.
3 fantasy points per reception. Player number 2, 3 points per reception over their career.
I'll take 2 because it's the same person.
2.
It's the same stats. We got it. And I'm sure number 2 is Alan Hearns, yeah?
Number 2 is Alan Hearns.
Yeah,
Number
okay,
1 is
Allen Robinson.
okay.
And it's a very different ADP. I mean, like I went down to even Matt Nagy, his offense, 58.9% of the time he decides to throw the ball. Dallas, 52.2 with Scott Linehan. I mean, it comes down to the fact that over their years they both have had injury concerns, and actually Allen Hearns' injury concerns have been less significant than Allen Robinson's. But they both are pretty much the same player, except for Allen Hearns is 26 and Allen Robinson is 24. I mean, I just think I'm not talking about one is better than the other or anything like that. I'm just saying.
No,
that,
you're not trading Allen Robinson for Allen Hurts.
No, I'm just saying at the 10 spot. I mean, or at the 10th round, Allen Hurts. I mean, that's a steal to me when you're talking about taking almost the same exact guy at the beginning of the 5th round.
My only issue is that the Cowboys aren't a passing team.
I just told you, it's only 8% more of the time that Matt Nagy threw the ball.
Okay,
They just don't have a player get over 1,000 yards. To Dak Prescott's credit, he spreads the ball around.
And I'll just say it. You're not going to like this, but I've been watching some Dallas Cowboys games. Dak's been having some accuracy issues. The last preseason game, he should have had 2 balls picked off that just weren't. And I was just like, come on, Dak.
And he only throws 3,000
in fantasy,
yards, something like that.
This preseason game, the concerns with the wide receivers, I've started to fade Dak. I'm not saying I don't want him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
I think
last game he went 8 for 11, and he had a touchdown. The
touchdown looked great, but he also should have had 2 interceptions. And I'm just saying, I don't think it's. Once again, he just drafted a little bit down for me. And I think with the lack of a true one, I like Allen Hurts. I like your case, and I think that he is being undervalued in the 10th round. But without a dominant one, you got somebody who has accuracy concerns in some way, shape, and form. You got a team like Nick said is a run-first team. Dak is starting to just kind of slowly move down my boards just a little. I find myself just picking somebody else next to him. That's what.
I can somewhat agree with the accuracy, but 6.7% of the time throwing the ball more.
I'll just be honest with you. This is hot. I know we just keep on talking hot takes. I have a hard time also taking Dak when I know that I can get Blake Bortles, which is Dak Prescott light, that is undrafted. I mean, really. I talked about it before. If you've not done this, go and look up Dak Prescott's and Blake Bortles' stat lines from last year. They are eerie how close they are. And, they finished close together in a fantasy. So I just have a hard time, Blake Bortles finishes quarterback 13, Dak Prescott, 11. Right now, Dak Prescott got a grand total of 11 more fantasy points than Blake Bortles did for the entire season. So we're talking about 16 games, less than a point. And I'm just I just have a hard time being yep, Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
I could just get Blake Bortles
and
my
Blake
last
Bortles
pick.
is fantastic, so there's that.
I know that's hot, and maybe that is, but that's my problem with Dak. And then when I'm looking at this preseason game, how he's playing without a true wide receiver one, he just keeps slipping into why does not get Blake?
And he doesn't have Witten.
Not having Witten is huge. He really is. When you're a Cowboys fan, Witten was a dominant force out there.
Oh, he was. I think the one thing, and I'll say this and we'll go, but I think the one thing, let's hold it with a grain of salt to compare last year. 6 games, our offensive line was dismal. Chaz Green on the left.
So it is right now because you got some injury on that offensive line right now.
No, they actually cleared. They cleared the offensive line.
I know, but I'm just saying
Zach Martin's not hurt. Travis Frederick has a stinger in his neck, but they're healthy otherwise.
But I will tell you, I was watching ESPN, and they talked about that stinger in their neck, and I forget who it was. He was a former offensive line. He goes, it's something to monitor because he goes, as somebody who is an offensive line, if you've got it right now, it comes back more in the season. And he goes, there is a high chance he misses. I'm just saying, I'm not poking at Jonathan. I'm giving you real fantasy analysis. That's what I'm trying to do.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare
just
you?
rude. And so once again, not disliking Dak. I think that we have to. Right now he is still good value, 13th round. He is falling in draft. Looking at it now, he's going behind Alex Smith and Derek Carr. I'd much rather have Dak. That's silly. So maybe I will own Dak. He's sliding in ADP too, so that may mean that
it helps.
If I can get Dak with my last pick, absolutely, I'll pick him over Blake Bortles. But I just,
it's just if he's
it's a matter
talented.
of price.
He
it's
is
price.
talented, and if he falls enough, then I'll take him no doubt.
So if other people are having the same concerns I have and are overcorrecting, then deal.
Yeah. So we have to get into the main event. But before we get into the main event, which is brought to you by Hall of Breaks.
Oh, tell him about it, Nick. Tell him about it, Nick. Tell him about it.
It's a place to get the newest memorabilia available, from recent signings and hot rookies to new products with classic players. First-round picks to Hall of Fame standouts, the best products around are in the Hall. Daily chances to win prizes with a new series every week. Products from full-size replica and authentic helmets to minis in Blaze, Ice, Speed, and other popular styles. There is some kind of risk involved in this game of chance, so be sure to read all the rules of the page or contact the page admins with any questions. Hall of Breaks is more than just a prize page. It is a community of dedicated collectors and lovers of the game.
Prize is not guaranteed, boys, but let me tell you, them butterflies in your stomach, oh, man. There's a guarantee. You get in, you get a slot. They break it open right there. It's just a lot of fun. It's competitive pricing. Next day shipping. That's my favorite part, because when you win, you want it now.
And you
can
it.
see it, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then, you go to other breaks pages, and it's like, we'll have it to you next couple weeks. What?
I want it now.
I
get it now.
In the world of technology, I want it now. Best value, tamper-proof boxes, live prize drawings. It's also not just sports memorabilia. It's an event. It really is. It's a lot of fun. So check them out. Hall of Breaks on Facebook.
Yeah, and you can check the description of this podcast to get the link to it if that's easier for you.
Yeah, do it.
The main event.
So for the main event, we're going to talk about players who are drifting in the back of your head, maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and ahead and further back rounds that you're like, should I pick this guy up? Like, does he have more value than where he is at right now? And I'm here to tell you, yes.
And
yes,
also, Nick, before we get into the main event, I forgot to mention this. Next podcast, there is something special going on. That's the last podcast of August. So that means we're giving away the Sam Darnold full-size helmet.
Oh, man.
And it is signed. It is sexy. It's from Hall of Breaks. We appreciate it. We're giving it away. So check the episode link as well with the Twitter.
With the Twitters?
With the Twitters. And then you put it on there. And be sure to follow us at F3Pod to get all that jazz. So, Sam Darnold helmet coming at you live.
And he may be a starting quarterback.
He may be. He's taking first-team reps. That's what they're saying.
Woo. All right, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick the first player because I usually go faster.
Oh,
because my takes are hot and I don't like to defend them. The first guy I picked was Devin Funchess, wide receiver 39, being drafted at 8.11. I'm not saying he'll finish at the same thing he did last year, which was wide receiver 20, but DJ Moore isn't the starting wide receiver. Devin Funchess is still considered the starting right side wide receiver.
I disagree.
So for now, if Funchess stays in that position, he's a solid wide receiver 3. So you could take him even 10 wide receivers ahead, 1 or 2 rounds at early 7th would be doable. I mean, let's say he's number 26, 27 out of the wide receivers, take him in the 7th round. That's where you're going to take your wide receiver 3. He's drafted as a mid wide receiver 4 in the back of the 8th. 5 players ahead of him I would rather not have Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins, and Jamison Crowder. I'd rather have Devin Funchess over all of those. And now I know he doesn't have the best quarterback because Cam Newton is not the best quarterback, but with the rushing offense that they have, it pulls a lot of people into the box and a lot of pressure off the wide receivers, making mediocre-ish wide receivers a lot better because they don't have as much double coverage. Another thing is, last year, his opportunity ratio was 1.74. Now, DeAndre Hopkins was 1.78.
So he got 1.74 fantasy points per target.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Nuck got
all right, so
1.78.
here's where I'm going to fight you on a lot of this, okay? Ready? I will take...
Well, you're wrong.
I will take Emmanuel Sanders. I will take Sammy Watkins. I will take Jamison Crowder. I will take Cooper Kupp. I will take Robbie Anderson. I will take, get your mittens, Kelvin Benjamin over Devin Funchess.
No.
I will take Nelson Aguilar above Devin Funchess. I will take Robert Woods. We are playing a game of ADP of how low we would go. I will take Allen returns over Devin Funchess.
Wow.
Let me see if I can keep going lower. I just saw Devontae Parker and barfed a little.
So last year was a fluke. Never going to happen again. Not even close to it. I'm not even guessing he'll be close to it. I'm guessing he'll be an entire.
Right now he is taken as
wide receiver
39
and 8.11. He finished last year
21.
as wide receiver 20.
Absolutely. I agree with all of those. However, this is also something that I agree with. Do you agree that Cam Newton is not exactly the most passing person?
I agree completely.
Okay.
What I'm saying is he's going to be an entire wide receiver back from what he was, but he's ranked right now as a wide receiver 4. He finished last year as a mid wide receiver 2.
Okay. How many targets did he get in order to be that?
I think it was 114.
Okay. So 114. Christian McCaffrey got 100 and something. Let's suppose he stays that. Greg Olsen was not there for that entire thing. And Greg Olsen will see more targets than Devin Funchess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Greg Olsen requires 100.
He didn't come back and do very well, but I agree he will do better than he did at the end of last year.
Yeah, and I mean, so then you also have DJ Moore. My problem isn't necessarily even the talent level of Devin Funchess in Dynasty. I'm not against him buying him and hoping that he goes somewhere. My issue is his opportunity. Will he have the opportunity? I don't see him getting 114 targets this year.
Oh, I see him getting like 80, which is why I have him where he is.
Oof.
I don't think he'll be anything like last year. I think he'll be mediocre compared to last year.
He had 111
but he won't be trash
targets.
like people have him.
111 targets, 63 receptions. But here's the problem that I also worry about: 8 touchdowns. I just worry about with DJ Moore. DJ Moore's a big guy, athletic dude. Greg Olsen, big guy, athletic dude. If that drops to 80 targets, like you were saying, 56% reception catch rate, we're talking about what, 50 catches, 46 catches, and then let's take away a touchdown or two, five touchdowns. That ain't doing it for Papa Gee. That just ain't doing it.
You don't have to get him.
You can have him, baby.
I'll take him.
That's
in
why
the
we do this
seventh.
podcast. Jonathan, what is one of your guys? Because I've already done enough talking. What is one of your seventh round or later darlings?
I'll keep it quick on this one. We've already talked about him a little bit. James Washington. I'm just scrolling down, and 14.3 as opposed to an 8.11 Devin Funchess. So James Washington.
So you would take James Washington over Funchess?
With my eyes closed.
What does that even mean? Like you would close your eyes because you're scared of the pick, or does that mean that
you can go ahead and defend yourself, and then.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Hold on. Get on YouTube, guys, because I'm.
So what did Devin Funchess finish last year?
21.
Wide receiver 20.
Okay, stat line.
I mean, 111 targets, 880 yards, something like that. Hold on, I have to vet me on mine. I was literally just rattling that off. 840 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. So 840 yards and 8 touchdowns. Pull out my laptop.
Yep. Get it?
Jonathan just has it on a piece of paper. What a loser.
So
the last 5 years in Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
Now keep in mind.
Oh, I'm keeping in mind.
Before there's any arguments. Keep in mind, they have not had a very talented wide receiver 3 since James Washington last year. Mm-hmm. Or since Juju Smith last year.
I didn't know James Washington played for the Steelers.
Both start with a J.
Yeah.
Since Juju last year. Okay?
Okay.
Last 5 years, the average, or the floor area, the average of the wide receiver 3, 37 receptions, 600 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. You're talking about 200 yards less than Devin Funchess and 2 touchdowns less.
Yeah.
Look at what Juju did last year as the 3rd wide receiver.
Kind of, yeah.
He ran from the 3rd spot. At that spot on the field, he ran from there in the playbook.
Tell him stats.
Okay.
You had the stat pulled up that I was going to look at.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So here's something to think about. You were like, oh, yeah, he was the 3rd wide receiver. Juju, was he, though?
When I say 3rd wide receiver, let's talk about.
To me, he was the 2nd option on that team.
He was
third. I mean, outside of Bell. I'm talking about 2nd wide receiver option. So here we go. 2017, Brown finishes wide receiver 2, his first option.
Mm-hmm.
Juju, his second option, finishes wide receiver 21. Wide receiver, his third option, finishes wide receiver 49.
Mm-hmm.
That was Martavius Bryant. Now, if you project James Washington to take over and be a great wide receiver, then you are predicting that either Antonio Brown or Juju Smith-Schuster is becoming that third option, and they're going to suck. Because that goes hand in hand, because even the next year, Antonio Brown won wide receiver 2 option 61, wide receiver 3 option 93. This is Big Ben throughout his entire career. 2015, Antonio Brown won wide receiver 2, the second option 39, wide receiver 3 46. The best year he has had was his third option was wide receiver 36. And that was, I'm trying to look up the team because I want to make sure that I have that exact. But what I'm saying is that if you were putting James Washington in that tier to be a value, you have to basically say Juju is either going to get injured or become the third option. Like James Washington is more talented than Juju. Because that's,
No, you're right. That's what I was going to point out.
So do you think that James Washington is more talented than Juju?
I think he definitely has the ability to be.
Okay.
And
I will say that is possibly the hottest take we've said today because I disagree. I think Juju is a much more talented. I love James Washington, and I think he's the future of that program. And I love him in Dynasty because we've seen that the Steelers know how to do a few things. Draft wide receivers and cultivate them to be what they need to be.
They know.
Really, how many times do the Steelers have to do that? So I'm excited about James Washington's future, but not in redraft. I can't. He will have. You're right. He will have a game or two where he does what he did in this preseason and blow up. But I don't know if you're going to start him. He's going to do that twice.
I could never rely on him to start unless I'm in like a 16-team league.
He's a great best ball. He's a great best ball because when he blows up for 20 points, you can just sit there and go.
And you pick him at the end of the draft.
Yeah, yeah. But that's my issue is the history of James Washington, of Big Ben, and what is around him. If Juju wasn't there, completely agree. But I just can't fade Juju that hard. I'm fading Juju. I don't think that he finishes as wide receiver 21. I just don't.
No,
I just don't.
I don't see it. That's like the best
but
he's ever had a wide receiver.
I still think
too.
he finishes really well this year.
But we're talking about the 14th round. Last 5 years, average 600 yards, 6 touchdowns.
But I think he deserves
That's
to be...
14th round. 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. You're talking about, again, 200 yards less than Devin Funchess going in the 8th round and 2 touchdowns less. You're talking about a total of 32 points over the season. But you're also talking about 6 rounds later. 6 rounds.
I'm not... I just... Once again, I
feel
like...
At the 14th round, it's a steal. I just think.
Right, Tyler.
I did tweet out. I said I had James Washington in a few different places, and after he had that amazing preseason game, it was amazing. All of a sudden, all these trade offers came in for James Washington, and I was like, yeah,
in redraft I'd take him. In Dynasty, I'd be like, it's hard. Part ways. All right, Tyler, who is your first guy?
All right, so the guy that I have, and we're trying to get away from our usual people. Yes. I love Isaiah Crowell.
And I was going to say Kenny Stills, but I was like, nah, better not.
We know Nick loves Kenny Stills. We know Jonathan loves Marquise Goodwin, although he's down in the 5th round, so he doesn't count as the 7th round or later type guy.
I just wish somebody would have said something like that.
I have him in our league that we're in, our Debbie league. Trade offers are open. Anyways, I'm just going to leave on that. My guy is going to be somebody that you're going to think, wow, is this 2017 all over again?
Last year.
Is this last year? Because, my Isaiah Crowell love. Now I'm about to hit you with somebody else. Ty Montgomery.
Please no.
And I know, listen, hey, I get it. But let's talk about Ty Montgomery really quick. Here's my favorite thing about Ty Montgomery. He is going to be the lead dog, I think, by default. Right? Aaron Jones is suspended. Williams is hurt. Green Bay doesn't seem to be hosting anybody.
Yeah.
So
he's.
Let's talk about this too. This is something else we need to talk about. Even after, okay, even after Aaron Jones comes back, even after, let's say, Williams comes back, Jamal Williams, I still think he has a role because he is, to me, the pass catcher on that team. So let me explain it really quick. First off, we all know Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 35 to 40 touchdowns this year. Yeah?
Yeah.
We start dividing it up. Devontae Adams, let's say we give him 10, 12, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, okay, well, then the second target is what? Jimmy Graham?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy.
So then the third target
Jimmy.
is Randall Cobb?
Yeah,
Question
he's
mark?
been pretty bad
I
ever,
mean,
ever
we
since
just
that one
there's
year
this
he did
weird,
good.
and here's the thing: we all know this. Aaron Rodgers can support 3 to 4 fantasy relevant people. He's that good of a quarterback, and I feel like Ty Montgomery could finish in that echelon. Okay, here's what I want to say: I looked up his points per target and carry. He had 0.9 when he actually was not injured, which is Kareem Hunt had 0.88. So I mean, now granted, he didn't have as much opportunity.
Le'Veon Bell had 0.8.
0.8. Now, these people are workhorses, so there's more opportunity to not do well. I mean, there's people that literally get 4 carries, and they have an amazing, because they break off a 50-yard run.
Yeah, there's a 4 points opportunity.
Smaller data sets make it a little skewed. But I did this. He started 5 games. He had a broken rib. He tried to get back and came back just too early. Like, just to be honest, like, I looked at Sports Injury Predictor, right? He had the chest rib fracture in September, went down opening drive of week 4, okay? He missed week 5 with multiple broken ribs. This doesn't mean like, oh, I just got hurt. He had broken ribs and then tried to play on November 12th. This man didn't even wait a full month.
Hardcore, man.
With
He's
broken
hardcore.
ribs, and then he gets hurt at Chicago. Here's what I think. I think that Ty Montgomery is a competitor. He knows that he had not secured that job, and he pushed himself too quickly to get back into it. He saw his job slipping, and he thought, it don't hurt that bad, and went back in there and hurt him again. I know he's a former wide receiver. I get the argument of, well, he just can't handle the workload. And he might not be able to, but let's talk about this really quick. The 5 games that he played, okay? The 5 games that he played, he got targeted a lot. He got 31 targets, 23 receptions for 173 yards and a touchdown. That's just in the air. To me, he is a pass-catching role. If you were to extrapolate that, the 16 games, the pass-catching role, 95-ish targets, 70 receptions. That the closest person I can find to that would be Duke Johnson, who finished last year with 93 targets, 74 receptions, and 3 air touchdowns, and finished as running back 11 last year in PPR.
So where is he being drafted?
And Duke Johnson, keep this in mind, only had 348 ground yards. So Duke Johnson made his ham in the air. You see what I'm saying? I feel like that's what Ty Montgomery is going to do. He is going to make his payday in the air if he can stay healthy. Right now, Ty Montgomery is the 41st running back taken off the board, and he is going in the 9th round.
Okay.
To me, if you are the pass-catching back for Aaron Rodgers, that is value to me, especially when the people in front of you are hurt and suspended.
Yeah, it looks like everyone looks hurt or suspended.
And
What's weird is his
I'm still
ADP has
listening.
actually dropped over the last week.
And I'm still listening for Green Bay to be bringing in somebody. Oh, wait, they're not. So that means that I think Green Bay is content with Ty Montgomery. And I know the whole, well, he's a running back. He can't handle a running back load. The guy had broken ribs. To me, that's a freak accident. Name the last time you heard a running back getting broken ribs. And then try to play on these broken ribs not even a month later. Do I think he's a running back 11, like I said with Duke Johnson? No. Could I see a world where Ty Montgomery finishes as a running back 2 for you? Sure. And maybe that's hot. But he is a pass catcher for Aaron Rodgers, who has a lack of his normal targets, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has...
Yeah, I think the only risk is there's a lot of unknown in the fact of when the other players come back. It's not that Ty Montgomery is seen as being bad or not good. It's just that what happens when someone else comes back, because they haven't really committed to Ty Montgomery.
Well, how about this? Draft him when he does well for the first week or 2.
Trade him.
Trade him. I mean, really. I mean, Because if he blows up, if he comes back and does what he did those first few games, because he was doing it the first few games. If he does that, people are going to go nuts. People are going to be like, "Oh, Ty Montgomery's back." And then you have to make a decision. But this is a good decision to make. They're throwing a ball. This is a good decision to make. The decision is, do I keep Ty Montgomery, who's doing awesome, who I got in the 9th round, or do I trade Ty Montgomery for a lot of stuff because, once again, he's doing great in the 9th round?
Yeah. I get it.
Ditto.
The argument. I'm not going to argue with you. I see your point, and he is so cheap, it's just like, well, why not?
Like women.
Like women.
In your life.
Yeah, they're always so cheap. No, they're not. They're so expensive.
Wrong.
Right.
All right, Nick.
So my next one is Peyton Barber at 9.11. Now, I was looking
I'm surprised he's not going up higher.
Yeah, and I'm going to point out this. So he is the starting running back for the Buccaneers right now.
Question mark. I mean, you're okay. I say question mark, but he really is. I mean, watching some preseason games, I'll just say it.
Ronald Jones was
Drones.
Ronald Jones was drafted to be the number one running. I mean, he was drafted very early to be the number one running back.
Like it right now in the preseason.
Ronald Jones has rushed the ball 12 times in the preseason for 11 yards.
I know. I saw a tweet. I wish I could give it credit for
His
it.
longest was 5.
I wish I could see a credit, but someone said, "Do you realize that Ronald Jones has rushed more than the yards he's gained?"
Yeah, it's insane.
And I was like, that's less than a yard per rush. For instance, if you wanted to get that, all you could do is get handed the ball and just dive forward. You don't have to run; just dive forward.
Eddie Lacy could get more yards than this.
What is Eddie Lacy doing?
So
Anybody know?
Peyton Barber has also rushed the ball for 10 times for a total of 53 yards.
So that's better.
That's a couple more.
That's a couple more.
That's
and
a
I know
couple
this is preseason, but that's so big of a difference. It's hard not to look at. We look at this. There is not a lot of points of data to look at, but that's a big enough discrepancy that it's kind of insane.
Oh, and by the way, those of you that said, well, Ronald Jones, yeah, he 12 attempts, 11 yards. Surely he caught a ball, right?
No.
He's gotten 2 targets and dropped both of them.
Nice.
Solid.
So, 9th round, you're looking at a guy who, at his worst, is going to be a running back 3 or 4. His worst.
In 2 preseason games, he's gotten 7.1 fantasy points. I mean, granted, it's only on 12 attempts, but
dude, he's on par with Eddie Lacy this year.
I still like
first down.
He did
first down.
He did get
That
a touchdown.
5-yard rush?
He got a singlet touchdown.
See,
Hope he kept that ball because it's
Goal
the only
line
one he's
work.
going to get.
I
Goal
like
line.
seeing his average yards per carry is 0.9.
Yeah, it's nice. So, I mean, that's my guy. I don't want to. You can spend a lot of time on it. I'm not. That's all I got. He's the only option.
What happened to Jaquiz Rogers?
He's just not as good as Peyton Barber, apparently. That's what.
But I remember
That's
last
what
year,
Dirk
like
Cutter-
that was a debate. Like
That's
it really
what Dirk
was.
Cutter has said during the
Okay.
summer camp is that Peyton Barber is basically the running back 1. He's clearly shown that he is the best running back on that backfield.
I worry about this. I would say it, Nick, and you've talked before. They have a tough schedule.
Oh,
They have a
suck.
suspended quarterback.
They're going to be terrible this year.
They have this
Just
running
like
back.
every year.
And and as much as I think he is the running back 1, let's realistically, in my brain, this still is like a 60, 40, 70, 30.
Yeah.
Even if it is Peyton Barber. And so
I'm guessing a running back 3. He's your flex spot, but you're drafting him at 9.
I could see it. It would be a gross flex spot, though.
Well, I'm
you would
talking
feel,
like you have a bye week.
you would feel wrong every time you did it. Like you would just like put it in there and just be like, immediately close your app
Well,
because
he
you
did
don't
get a
want to
touchdown
see it.
last week, so
You
maybe.
don't want to see it. Like you're just like in there and save and close the app. Please don't talk to me.
So we got 2 more to get through.
Question: How about this? Peyton Barber or Ty Montgomery? Because they're drafted. 9th round.
Go Ty Montgomery.
I'll go Peyton Barber just because.
It's a debate. I don't want to sit here and just say, well, it's Ty because
I
it's my
honestly
guy.
feel like Peyton Barber has less competition. I don't think he's as good as Ty Montgomery. I just think I have more longevity out of
No,
Peyton
I mean,
Barber.
that's fair. I'll go Ty just because of the upside with him. I think that Peyton Barber's upside is realistically like a running back, too.
Yeah, that's the
That's
best
like
you're
his.
gonna get.
That's his ceiling.
Oh yeah, there's no way
With
he's
Ty
creeping into running
Montgomery,
back
if he
one.
can stay healthy and just hold on to that job, like he is going to destroy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ifs. I mean, that's hot, but I'm just saying, like, there's that ceiling exists? Question mark.
Question mark? Yeah.
All right, John. Let's go ahead and hear it. You got to be wrapping up this episode here soon.
Let me log back in.
Log back into the
When he
tablet.
says, he literally just has a piece of paper. I'm waiting for Jonathan at one point to just come in with a napkin that he wrote in on Crown.
So I at lunch today I wrote down these stats.
One of these, he was telling us that he did a baseball best ball draft, and I was like, "Do you even know baseball?" He's like, "No, I've just been clicking on people." He's like, "You got a problem."
All right. So this guy comes in at the 7-Eleven spot. Carlos Hyde.
Stop.
No, I like
No,
it.
you stop.
No, I like
I'm
it.
just
Keep
This
going,
is
baby.
literally a guy
Oh, tell him about
last year that we were
you
taking
want me to
in
lay
the
down some
third
it.
round.
Do you want me to sweet jazz while you're
Yeah,
playing?
throw it up, Nick. Look at it. 2017, we took him in the third round. Here's the thing. The last 2 years, Carlos Hyde, top 15 finish, top 12 finish. The last 2 years. Hugh Jackson with the Cleveland Browns, the last 2 years.
You got to get on YouTube because Jonathan is just waving this notepad at.
I feel like the
Nick.
Jay Gruden of the bunch, old school. Anyways, last 2 years, Hugh Jackson has produced a top 20 back. 2017, Duke Johnson. 2016, Isaiah Crowell. Carlos Hyde will have that starting spot. Nick Chubb will be the future, but Carlos Hyde is a talented starter. Fun fact about Carlos Hyde, he has never been benched for poor play in his career of
Just
football.
injury.
He is a much talented running back. I would almost guarantee 1,000-yard season.
Oh man.
That's a lot.
He's playing behind a better offensive line.
Is he playing behind a better coach?
I just told you that Hugh Jackson has produced a top 20 and two top 20
the
running
other
backs
top
in the
20
past 2
running
years.
back is still there, and now you're putting Carlos Hyde in there. So are they
Duke
both gonna
Johnson,
be?
and that's because of the air game.
I will say, Carlos Hyde, 10 carries in the preseason, 63 yards,
I'm not denying
and
his
a
talent.
touchdown.
I love him talent-wise.
What's the game about? Talent?
I don't
Talent
see him
produces
getting
numbers.
as much as you say.
Fun little fact.
I could see
So
800.
Nick Chubb had one more yard than him at 64, but Nick Chubb also had 26 carries, where Carlos Hyde had 10.
Oh, right now Carlos Hyde is considered the number one
Yeah,
back.
let's also
where
keep. Yeah,
Duke Johnson's
he's
the third.
playing with the first team. He's the one that is being reserved. I mean, he's
I
gonna
agree.
be the
I
starter.
think Chubb is the future, the dynasty. He is the next. I don't think Hyde's there next year, but I think that Cleveland may know that, and I think they're going to run Carlos Hyde into the ground.
And I've been saying it forever. Grab Carlos Hyde at the 7-Eleven and then take Nick Chubb in the
At the
10th.
7-Eleven with the slushy.
Yeah.
Just stop in, get you a slushy,
Big
get you
gulp.
some Carlos Hyde.
So what
big gulp.
round would you take if everyone thought the same way as you? What round would he go in?
Like, what's the highest I would take him?
Yeah.
Early 7th.
No, like if everyone thought that Carlos Hyde was going to get 1,000 yards and be as good as you think he would be, where would you like?
All right,
where
right
do you
now he's
compare
at the
him?
7. Okay, let's
in the
keep going
draft?
up and tell me to stop. Sony Michel,
Yes.
Chris Carson,
Yes.
Tevin Coleman,
Yes.
Rashad Penny,
Yes.
Tariq Cohen,
Yes.
Chris Thompson,
Yes.
Ronald Jones,
Yes.
Rex Burkhead,
Yes.
Marshawn Lynch,
Yes.
Kerryon Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Deion Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I think Deion Lewis will be good. I think he finishes
Mark
under
Ingram.
1,000 yards, though. Yes.
Of course.
Lamar Miller,
Yes.
Kenyon Drake.
Stop.
All right. You would be drafting him in the 4th round. 4th, 5th. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I think that you got to get your guy, but at the same time, you also have to make sure you don't reach. I think getting him in the 5th round is a little early, being that why do that when I can get him in the 6th round?
Yeah, no,
You know,
I'm just trying to figure out where
just play the price.
where he's comparing him to other running backs.
And the crazy thing is, like I said,
Yeah, you would be taking him around. Here it is, running
Royce
back
Freeman.
22.
Yeah,
and
he's
right
right there by
now-
Royce Freeman and Jay Ajayi.
Right now, he is running back 35.
I mean, and that's the thing is people are like, well, you know, the only thing that's keeping you from drafting Carlos Hyde, because like I said, last year, in the 3rd round is when he was taken.
Oh yeah, if Chubb wasn't there, he would be way higher.
And you can grab Carlos Hyde and then Nick Chubb 3 rounds later. If you're worried about Carlos Hyde's injury status, you can grab Nick Chubb 3 rounds later. It's not hard.
just grab the Chubb.
yeah.
I mean, I've said that before.
I
Haven't
tell my
y'all?
wife that all the time.
Oh God, we gotta cut it off. All right, so my person, we're gonna end on this. I will tell you this: Jonathan has made me a believer of this man, and I believe I will get him. His name is Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole right now is the wide receiver. What, Nick? What wide receiver is he? What do you think?
43.
Okay, what do you think?
51.
All right, he's the wide receiver 72.
Okay.
He's in the 14th round of redraft. D.D. Westbrook is the first Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver to go off at wide receiver 60, 60th wide receiver off the board, and wide receiver around 13. Now, let's talk about this really quick. Blake Bortles last year, his first wide receiver option finished as wide receiver 41. So look at that. If they do what they did last year, congratulations, you just found value. Surprise. Wide receiver 2, 48. His third option, wide receiver 61. You know, still right behind where the first Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, it was just like, now let's go back 2016. His first wide receiver option finished as wide receiver 26. His second wide receiver option finishes wide receiver 45. His third is wide receiver 38. Blake Bortles last year, I know the concern. Everybody's like, well, they're going to defense and Leonard Fournette, and I agree. But last year, Blake Bortles still threw 523 passes, which is the 11th most in the league for quarterbacks. 1.6 points per target compared to D.D. Westbrook at 1.3. Keelan Cole, let me read you his fantasy points week by week, and I want you to notice something about Keelan Cole as I read. Okay, just take a moment to yourself as this loads. Okay, I mean, just being honest. Okay, all right. Well, it's not gonna. Other things that I've noticed too, just being honest, is that I've seen a lot of stuff about how Keelan Cole and Marquise Lee are like apparently in the system, like they know the system more than anyone else, and they're the guys. So I mean. I can't even load it because it's stupid, but it literally is just at the end, he went off.
He just got better and better.
He literally at the beginning of the season did nothing. And then all of a sudden at the end of the season, he was insane. And then if you look at week 17, he's awful. And you're like, well, why? They knew they were going to the playoffs. They pulled him quick. He didn't get out there with targets. He didn't do all this stuff. You want to know why? Because he was a stud to them back then. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but they did not need Keelan Cole Hort for the playoffs. So I mean, I think that when Allen Robinson went down, they were trying to figure out what they had, and D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole, all these guys. Does Keelan Cole finish as wide receiver 1? No, he does not. He is Blake Bortles throwing to him. He's not as talented as Allen Robinson, just to be honest. Does he finish as a wide receiver 2? Maybe not. Does he beat wide receiver 71?
I'm kind of surprised he's not the first one off the board
Oh, yeah,
as the
DD goes
Jacksonville
before him.
Jaguars because he had the most yards last year out of all of them.
Everyone loves D.D. Westbrook. I don't know why. I mean,
He
'Cause
picked
his
it up
name.
at the end of the year, too.
that's a pretty cool name.
I know I would.
You want to know something
DD.
cool about Keelan Cole?
DD. It also sounds like D.D. Westbrook sounds like a golf club. What are you part of? I'm part of the D.D. Westbrook Club. Oh.
Do you think he has a brother named Dexter
Please tell me he does.
with a laboratory?
Oh, please tell me he
DD.
does. Oh, okay, so finally it loaded, but listen. Here is Keelan Cole's games. Week 1, 0 points. Week 2, 1.3. Week 3, 1.3, 1.4, 0.7, 6.4, hello, 4.7, 6.1, hello, 2.4, 3, and then 10.9, 15.9, 24.6, 8 and then 10.8. Yep.
Yep. He became a play at the end of the year. I mean, like, I know I played him.
And then, of course, in the week 17, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 33 yards, no touchdowns or anything. But I think they pulled him early, just trying to protect him. I mean, they just wanted him for the playoffs. So if he's had another year of Blake Bortles, and if all this rumor mill is true, I think he finishes higher than wide receiver 71.
You want to know something cool about Keelan Cole?
What? His brother's J. Cole?
Yep.
One time for my LA sisters.
During training camp last year, he slept in his car.
No.
The whole training camp.
Why?
He just did.
I hope he showered.
He's just tired.
Discipline. He just slept in his car.
He ain't got no gas money.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool though.
I do not. I would go home. There's a bed. They
Maybe
pay
At least
you.
get an RV.
Maybe he didn't
like
have
the
a home.
Browns
He was
quarterbacks.
undrafted.
Keelan?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm like 95% sure. You can fact check me.
I mean, that may be true, but
But
you think they start paying a brother? Like
Not till you make the team.
he
He
on
didn't sign no
the team
contract.
now.
Hmm?
He on the team now.
He on the team now.
Oh, I know, but I'm talking training camp last year before he made the team.
Oh, okay.
He was.
I was talking about this year. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they pay you, right? Like,
All
That's
right.
cool.
Well,
dedication.
that's everything. Those are our 6 players. Whatever. Kenny Stills, draft him. Do it.
Yeah,
Do
we
it.
had a few
Do it.
honorable mentions. If nothing to explain, but Kenny Stills, Bilal Powell for me, James White. I think these are all kind of
Yeah, I
people
almost
that are.
picked Bilal Powell, and I was like, no, he's just gonna talk about him.
Yeah, so, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, please come back to another F3 Pod. Just join us there on Twitter and come back for another episode. August, next week, we're giving away that Sam Darnold helmet. This is the last week, bonus, that we do not do 2 episodes. Because in September, when we start playing real football, 2 episodes a week.
Deuce.
Doses. So you get more of us.
I'm sorry.
All the time, baby. Hit us out here, Nick, with that smooth jazz, baby. Sitting with the ones and twos. Duke Silver.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast, and follow us at F3 Pod.
I forgot to press record, guys.
I hate you.
I wouldn't.